Okay, we'll say the prayer on page number 10. In English, on page number 11, I take refuge in the Guru, I take refuge in the Buddha, I take refuge in the Dharma, I take refuge in the Sangha. from now until my enlightenment, the Dharma and the Sangha, by the merit created this practice, may I attain the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. May all sentient beings enjoy happiness and causes. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and causes. May all sentient beings never be separated from joyful bliss. May all sentient beings divinely illuminated, purified as attachment and anger. This ground mountain perfume, strewn with flowers, mounted miracle, encircled by the four continents, surrounded by the sun and the moon. I visualize this Buddha field and operate. May all living beings enjoy pure land.
Oh yeah, like Samalo, some trash delicious.
Oh yeah, cover करने किया मैं तो देख हमने को cover करने किया मैं तो
저기 쳔바디 세워서. 예,
여기 오니까 디지털 오늘 가면 cover can't make my camera working today. I have to use my phone. 와, 안 되겠어. 확실히 가기만 하면 되게 좋은 거 아닌데. 아, 조금. 야, 아니 로스트 사고 가버려. 로스트. 나 이거.
Busy. It's very busy. Yeah, that's all. Yeah. I think as well, Kachamanga, there are many young don't. Zendratama take on to Chinga, Yarmadukanji teaching.
Okay, good morning and thank you everyone and for joining me this morning's discussion. And so without much delay, let's straight ahead with recite and make a short money recitation. And then
Yeah.
We start over today's class, and I try to finish the class before I leave the States for India.
Many public homes in Hotara, Jadis Jadis Tommy, you some Jadis not you going to Hakuna. Jadis Sharajini, Tikani, or Mani Pabno, Simpson Ross, Tamjilla. Dengan jatong tendit jambaji. Anita not the machine then sawa catch level sawa to o man panum said the dad chiku semna samotani don't under Gazera or the chinning other money some yaton in some chickens. Some jazz don't get them, Namji don't know.
Oh, that's all. Yeah. Okay. So the short money recitation is this. So first of all, we all know, and when you recite the mantra of compassion Buddha, and then you have to say repeatedly recite the Om Mani Padme Hum, six syllables of Buddha compassion or compassion Buddha. And those of you have been here before and know how to practice the mantra recitation, and you know that how you should start your visualization and then combine your visualization with the mantra recitation. And for those of you, and they've been here, you like first time, or you're not relatively not so sure about what this recitation is all about. Is this recitation of mantra compassion Buddha is to evoke your innate the quality of compassion, and so the compassion within yourself. So even though you don't know how to go through those detailed procedures of how you should establish Buddha, compassion Buddha in your visualization, and then reciting accordingly. But So one thing you can do is just focus on the sound of the sacred power of sound of a mantra, Om Mani Padme Hum, without thinking the past, the present, the future. Just focus on the mantra itself. That will be enough. So we're going to do the 300 rounds of mantra recitation.
The mantra is on page number 70. We'll just say one time the first verse, and then we'll recite the mantra.
딱 들고 가정하는 거니 야던 이 잡으시거든요. 가정 맞을 오달라고 나한테 맞을 오실 거라. 고메 봐.
또 딘질라 좀 밉지.
那就呀，中国家的是
니 sab지고네 마. 디마 샴근 담네 덴다위 세징도. 덴다위 간자감 치기 담에 발라 무비. 신이 듭슬느스 신이기 초동 담비 강니 무길 담에 발라. semtabiti ripsi tangin zin seshang ma topa tela shangui ki partschopi shangui ki nyembu tramba tang shijin ki goni shangul thamo ngisni tetak ke want mandro wi chat kyongwi semni kiwi rambanus te tang tela sem joko yintin joko lentin joko nyor joko dawar shepa shawar shepa number shawar shepa chit de shepa tongnyon de shepa tetak top tricky drapchang yala shepa jiyo bi tsaki niwa tela sem tangbonus tv top niwa na sambi top tene nina jambi top tene nina shijingi top tene nina zonji top sem gwana drivi top ki drapo yala shepa jiyo te sem tangbo niwa dramte jigpi yala shepa tene ngawa jigpi teni sema nga da dong nyin jigpi yela shepa sheto semni gyapa kaps chapi jigpi yela shepa gawan senji jigpi yela shepa te to kombali dem shete te to teni mugpa tenyela tenyela sin shangzol tong gozo ki zo pa leni kombi li tong sim khint jangor topi che shine drepa yinte tene li tong sem tong shin jangwa chenbu topi yela shepa tong jiwar sha shiso tar shine drepa tong dagme pi tun ngar tar shati ne cha tong soso topi herb chanyen bi tsiki gombali ngar ki shinjang zam mambi shogum yi ki lagji la 신정 sarta kiwar jambi chant thata thangtong rpe chal te shini tang thangtong chongden nam zong nam zongdil te kiwa shandewi shini tang thangtong pancha chiki chigla chiki dawar shapa daro tena te chena tongye la mugpi thangtong gomsong de Gero sitawar da song ma.
Yeah. Okay. Technical or maintain the view in the form of meditation. Okay. How am I to extract it? The treated on the ones that abstracted to do with. Okay. All right. I guess this is on your page 133. And so technique for actualizing a common abiding mind that apprehends the selflessness of a person or the phenomena. It is essential to have assembled the factors for a common abiding mind so that when selflessness is the object on which the mind is focused, the meditative absorption that is to be actualized is clear and non-conceptual. When it is hindered by laxity and excitement, employ mindfulness as an antidote, recognizing even their subtle aspects by means of introspection, persist in your meditation in such a way that you do not come under their influence. The order of the 9 stages of setting the mind is as follows: setting the mind on the object, continual setting, and patch-like setting, close setting, controlling, pacifying, and total pacification, making single-pointed, and the stages of equilibrium. The technique for actualizing these through the 6 forces and the 4 activities is as follows. On the first stage, to employ the force of listening to the instructions, and on the second, the force of thinking about them. On the next 2 stages, implore the force of mindfulness to keep the mind on the object. On the 2 stages after that, the forces of introspection, counter, subtle laxity, and subtle excitement. On the 2 following stages, implore vigor, and on the 9th stage, apply the forces of thorough familiarity. The way the 4 mental activities are engaged is as follows. On the first 2 stages is the mental activity of deliberate engagement. During the following 5 stages, there is a mental activity of interrupted engagement, and on the 8th stages, that of uninterrupted engagement. On the 9th stage is the mental activity of spontaneous engagement, due to the familiarity with which there is no need for further exertion. Then, having gently relaxed your effort with regard to laxity and excitement in relation to the actual object, when familiarity with the practice yields extreme physical and mental pliancy, a calm abiding mind has been attained. Measures discrimination between the middle and the extreme says, then such a body and mind having gained great pliancy must be engaged and put to use. Having actualized the familiar abiding mind in this way, examine the significance of selflessness as before. Then, having gained familiarity with the technique for balancing familiar abiding mind and discriminating awareness, when you are able to derive fresh pliancy from the impact of analytical meditation itself, of not merely the previous pliancy, that is the God of having actualized a special insight. A calm abiding mind and special insight should be interrelated or possess common features, such as a common object, rely on the same sensory base, arising simultaneously, having the same aspect and the common entity. The sage Shantijiva has said, if you possess the method as explained for maturely binding the common abiding mind and special insight one to the other, they will give rise to the meditation on special insight, apprehended emptiness.
더 다르. 다니 같은 데라 집당지나 측용용들이 디나다 또 공거 슬락도 차상즈나 니데샤스티나 총도 도농지트나 요건도시라.
So even though this the passage we just read is kind of long, but we can concisely explain this or put it into a few points, into the point, explain them into through the few by making a few points. So I wish that you all pay close attention to it.
다 델라 가르시고는 신이 드발라 아니 실락 드발라 당부 셈니 근원도 로고레 다 셈니 것 원도 로알라 차킹 가르카르 정화 가르카르 제고레 티 드시게 잡으시.
So first of all, our goal and our primary at this point is to successfully develop Shine or the karma abiding meditation. But in order to establish or successfully develop the karma abiding meditation, we do need to know what are the 9 stages. So you have to go through, and you need to familiarize with those each stages and their unique features. So then you have to remember that what is required both internally and externally in order to successfully achieve the karma abiding meditation.
다 셈동본 조바지 니와 인든 조바 섬바 란든 조바 저 니오른 조바 더버시바 쇼시바 남버시바지네 다칸들 셈 럼바지 셔도 조바도 가서 곰장도 담보 곰장 저 곰장한테 셈 강라 먹바적사다 단단데다 동바지 식구셔고도 저 가랑 곰게나 담보 셈텔라 곰고르스테 곰주텔라 삼도르서 셈텔라 네 탑지마도 셈테 영종 두고요 말디 바로텔라 셈텔라 네 바로라 파르칠 망보페 드라마다 샤레옹지 그렇죠 남토 망리 로즈 또 남토 망리 로 마르코랑 셈라 파 삼노 땅에 톱기 치러 남제디나 남토 망보 요르도 좀 냠버 작요 말테서 아니 셈 땅보텔라 땅아주 상미 곰다나 곰자자 레 동와 삼고 공부 때 적어요 근데 이와텔라 아니 인든 족바 세데 데 셈텔 파 삼노 땅 까마 니 심증아 텐데 파텔라 셈데 네트크요 네트와 테나 셈네 니와테 셈 인도 족바세 네 심바데 랜드 족바세데 파 셈데 삼로 땅어서 셈데 랑징 티강 나가조이나 파 쳇등한데 바츠 쇼제 무가 자자나 데 여랑즈 데트와 치모 텔라 랜드 족바 니오른 족바세다 테 영즈 테페 사오치니 강스타 메와치니 데 도르셰파데 티크나다 셈라 스타가 소아진데 트리트니 뇨다 스타 메와치 쿠스네 진니 선트강 자가텔라 네트와 저거 쇼르셰파스리 소다 셈기지 남독차 등그 차마 저파 신니 셈강라든 시위공의 셈살레 진니 네트고요라 쇼르셰파 넘버 쇼르셰파지 소 데다 탐치 델리 경배 샹굴 타모 자명배 마용어들 홀로 진네 네트와들 다 데네 제직다 저와도 뇽버지 버셰토 진네 다 세트치다 강라 잡파텔라 타메 저다 롱오치트나 간 르바즘 고어테 티온도 롱오치트 셈라흐웨랑데 셈텔란 진당데 덴데데즈네 셈고텔라 다르바테네 샹고토 요멜로 텔레 샹골 어따 텔라 아니 뜨제버셰팔 톱트기 고니 곰고레 다 톱트기 오는
So now here we can make the few points for you to take home. So first of all, now we know that in order to achieve the state of single pointedness and of the mind, that is Shine, or karma abiding meditation, and then you have to have this is working, and by the way, is about to place your mind, and so it's all about the training of the mind, okay, and make your mind stable, or to achieve the stability of your mind. So to do that, you have to have an object to focus on. In other words, you have to have some kind of focal point, and you can use it, and right, and then you can zoom in, right, and then place your mind. And according to text, our textbook, then our focal point or our object of meditation is selflessness of person. Of course, this requires quite advanced skill and comprehension. But in any case, you can choose the object of your meditation accordingly, according to the level of your confidence level or the level of your experience and your understanding. So let's go through those 9 stages and see what we needed to know about at each stages. So first of all, in the 9 stages, again, this is the means. The 9 stages is a kind of program designed to lead the individual practitioner to achieve the common abiding or the state of single pointedness of meditation. So here is the 9 stages. First of all, setting the mind. Setting the mind is obviously just like we said, we have to have an object, right? Then we bring all our attentions, our mind, into that object. That is called the setting the mind on the object, whichever the object you're choosing. And then the second is a continual setting. So what's the difference between this first and second? First is as a beginner. So you have no you have to deal with lots of problems, but the first thing is that you need to bring the mind on, or put the mind, or place the mind onto the object, right? And then once that, while you're trying to do that, then obviously you can't do very successfully as the beginner. So your mind definitely will be distracted and or will run away, or I will kind of distracted into something else, but not focus on in the objects of meditation that you're choosing. So you need to bring back your attention, right, your mind into that same object meditation. So that's called the continue setting, and then patch-like setting. So patch-like setting is at this point you probably can. So let's say the first stage you probably only can stay there for like 2-3 minutes, right? And then the second stage probably is a little longer, that you will be distracted by excitement. So some kind of thoughts, and they kind of make you very interested about, but rather than choosing meditative object. So that's the problem. So you need to cope with it. But so in order to overcome that, you need to do the patch-like setting, meaning that even though the mind is being distracted, and you notice it is no longer focused on the meditative object, but you need to bring back, right? And so while you are trying to promote yourself, advance your meditation from the stage 1 to the 3, one thing quite common for all the first time practitioner. If you have novice and someone who's new, you will notice that instead of finding your mind is become calm and less thoughts and less active, you realize that, and how come all of a sudden, in order to instead of get your mind calm, less thoughts, right, and become peaceful, you find that your mind, you have more thoughts than ever, okay, and your mind seems busier than ever. So you probably will consider that probably is not you are not a meditation. Your meditation is very unsuccessful. In fact, it is not. Yeah. It is not because your meditation makes you more become more distracted, or your mind has more thoughts or more the disturbing ideas. It is not. The reason you realize that there are a lot of thoughts now than ever, but your mind is busy than ever, is because now you develop the habits to pay attention to your mind. Because you are now paying attention to your mental activity, your mental sort of life. Now you realize that and those things previously was there, but you didn't see it. Okay? So that's actually to see your mind is have more thoughts than ever and busier than ever. Actually, it's not a negative thing. This is a sign of you are doing your meditation is working. Okay? So after that, like setting, you need to close setting. And close setting have lots of thoughts, and they kind of just the focus. So at this point, and so those very forceful and strong and destructive thoughts is kind of to some extent is reduced, but still it can be is still in danger that would be goes back to the like in the beginning. So therefore you need to pay close attention, right, and be more careful about watchful about what you are how well you are doing your meditation. So that's the close setting, and then you need to do the move on to the strong and the controlling. So controlling here is more kind of your meditation is more kind of become more subtle and more become more yes. So the destructive thoughts and are become less, but it is less. However, it's become more subtle, and so your excitement has become more subtle, and lethargy, and also is at this point they would become a good challenge you. So therefore, you need to become more closely and to not only the controlling, but to watchful. So not let the subtle the excitement and to destroy and the stages of meditation or the qualities you have achieved and before prior to this point. So and then so you need to pacify. Pacify here is applied to your application of the technique that you learned, how to meditate, right? And now you apply this technique to cope with the subtle, the lethargy and the excitement, and because your meditation is getting better, and the challenges get more subtle and more hidden. So you need to be more focused and be more vigilant. So then that effort or application of the successful the technique to overcome the problems of the subtle excitement and the lethargy, and it would lead you to the total pacification, right? And we remember that before I give you the homework, right? And the illustration, the images. You saw that about the 9 stages of meditation. There was on your picture there is a image of elephant, right? And the elephant is represents your mind. So then you have the rope and you have the hook, right? And you have the monkeys and the rabbits and so on and so forth. All these are step by step. There are the mind is the subject of the training or the object of the training. So you need to because you are trained, your mind be trained. And the way to train your mind, the elephant, just like you dam the wild elephant, is to use apply all those techniques, right? And those techniques are more stage by stage and step by step. And so you take you apply all the techniques, and then just like the picture shows, the meditator who trained the elephant or try to damn elephant to be peaceful and serve for one's own and needs. So same in the same fashion here. So we need to go through all the stages and then make ourselves, our mind, and to be able to reach the point of where you here the text says making single pointed. So then finally we can achieve the last stage. That's the stage of equilibrium or the single pointedness. And in order to achieve that, we have to depend upon the six forces.
진짜다 아니 샘니 거와 테모르도 샘 세직도 내니 내용을 줬더니 곧 저 섬들이 받는데 두고서 그나 띠티나다 신정거 대화네 당보 리신정거 대화 리신정거 대화 통해서 샘 리드까지 내정나 양모 라진네 베 강아지가 명아도 단다고 하면 때 잡다는 리라 특나 오구모나 저데 망부 용도 때 나치가 메베 리 양모 지데 리신정거 대화나 이 통했더니 그럼 샘신정거 대화 통해서 샘나베 데키 잡니 때문에 용무저 띠치나다 신이 도송어서거든 샘 강아지나 다른 사람이 내지니 시위공이 니터가지고 용때 신정 리신정 샘니 리섬 이제 신정 도용을 썼더니 아니 다 신이 도송을 다 오늘 신이 도송 대자당 가서 리모트 정나 그나 자와지 그 전지니야 프렌드고 줬다 당부 리신정 리 양모들이 남과 프란도 착거래 아니 샘신정서 롱오치가 기동진이 지기다 롱오치 가오스거나 어때 다 샘신정 돌소 샘나 원지령소 다 샘나 원지 요다 아니 샘 통을소 아니 샘든 샘나 원지 삼든 파르스모다 샘나 원지령소 때고 쟁게지가 요함에 법에 담보를 나진 어떤 데그 강라 찍다 강라 저나 띠강다 삼에 내템 것들이 작거든 어다 고 연든 잡을지는 다 곰 가르고 하고나 가르셔 샘고나 가르고나 사우원도 get고 요르세 뜻이고 때다 띠치나다 준비 셰르브지 쇼바지 상통 보고
Okay. So yes, again, the point is that through the 9 stages of training, and you need to bring your mind self, your mind, and to that the last stage of the 9 stages of Shine, or the mind common abiding, the stage of equilibrium. So equilibrium is the mental state, and as a result of your prior the successful 8 stages of application of this 8 stages prior to that point. So simply speaking, the last stage of the meditation that you achieved is a single pointedness. So this single pointedness is from your own experience. You can tell, for instance, once you reached this point of your meditation, successfully achieved the Shine, then for example, you can sit there very easily, for 3 hours without any problem. Within that 3 hours, and so what you can experience is that you will experience 2 forms of pliancy. So the first is the physical or bodily pliancy, and the second one is called the mental pliancy. So pliancy here, simply speaking, is a wonderful quality. Okay, the quality is something like enable you to free from all the troubles that you have been you had to deal with prior to this point. For example, at the beginning or in the middle of your practice, in other words, before you achieve the single pointedness and experience the bodily or physical pliancy, you will have this experience of your meditation will be challenged by like the physical troubles such as headache, body ache, your backbone, your back is kind of sore, and your knees are kind of give you a hard time, and so on and so forth, right? And your meditation is quite troubling. But once you achieve the physical or bodily pliancy, and even you sit there 3 hours, your body will become as light and as like a piece of fur, and so you just got this great sense of flexibility, and somehow your body is just give you a tremendous sense of very pure and a sense of delightness, and make yourself feel so easy and so simple, and so you just experienced that great sense of at ease, right? And so your body is definitely as become such a enjoyable and very delighted sort of the source of in the enjoyment. So that's the that is the one production or the result of the successful achievement of the final stages of a 9-stage meditation. And then, yes, so another thing is that the pliancy is the mental, you experience through mentally. So mental pliancy is that just like it's like something this. So when you're physically, you feel so flexible and so open and so light, right? You get this sense of something like very ethereal, right? Then mentally, what happened is your mind somehow is the kind of filled up with a great bliss. So this sense of bliss is pervasive. Pervasive is also sort of sinking, right? And pervasive in to spread sort of out, and it's occupy and completely your sense of the state of being mentally, right? And at the same time, what happened is so now and you want to stay that focused on that focal point or the object meditation, and as long as you want it, how long you want it. So once you determined you want your mind to stay there, place your mind on to the object meditation, you want to stay there for how long. Once you sort of demand or command your mind to do so, your mind will take the order of you and will remain focused on that very choosing object of meditation. So and then you will experience this joined or combined sense of both mental and the physical pliancy. So when both the mental and the physical pliancy are perfectly and blended and or in the union, and then that's the sign and which indicates and you are finally successfully achieved the 9 stages of the 9 stages of meditation, the stage of equilibrium, or the single point that is shamatha and or shamatha. And we saw the picture, right? Now back to your picture. And so you see, there was a monk, right? And the monk and the picture, so started from the yes, if you look at the beginning, from the starting point all the way, and you see that the image shows a monk now is kind of flying, right? He is flying in the sky, and that indicates, or that's symbolize the monk, the meditator. That's you, and at this point, you achieved the physical pliancy, right? And then, and the next picture, as you can see or you saw, is that a monk now is right on the back of the elephant, very freely and pleasantly. And so that's the indicator you gain the mental pliancy. So see, now as rider, the meditator, who physically is and successfully is whose experience of his body is pliancy, delighted, and ethereal is very light and open and very flexible. And so since he is sits on the right on the back of the elephant freely and smoothly, that shows that he also mentally and experienced the great sense of bliss and this openness. So then that means that both the union, both the physical pliancy and mental pliancy are now in union. So this also indicates that as a meditator, at this point, now you'll be able to master your own mind. In other words, you can command your mind. It suggests that prior to this moment, you have no such a power, but from this point onwards, you are the master of your own mind. You can command and your mind, right? And so your mind, as far as the stability, as far as the stability concerned, your mind can be as stable as like the mountain mirror. Okay, so solid and so firm and so stable, and then as long as the functions or the let's say the effectiveness of your mind is concerned, or efficiency of your mind is concerned, that you can place your mind anywhere and as you want it, and as long as you want it. So so this again that it shows that you are perfectly achieved the Shini meditation. So once you achieve the Shini meditation, now you are ready to pursuing the Jnana Parjana Paramita. That is, you are ready to practice the special insight, the wisdom.
Tensata ane semni gut gom yongorchala tela niwaro top tik goni gom gore top tik goni gom zurso ani phachuk lam tela ane rambaro phats ni triyor tensa top tik te karzna tangbo chorong gom jangda tangbo karji ra gom jadis chole nikwenos de yamarete tangbo gom se de kanda tiwachi gore tiwachi na tiwa ton tiwaina 티나 암족고 정화지고 도중지용으로 소치 하고야죠. 하고야 때라다 하고의 양즈 니와데 삼베토브 때라 삼노당 거죠. 때때르긴 살았어야지. 때르셔송아 때때르시긴 가지 따때 조조네 샘니 당보때 샘 때라 라든 종버셔발은 종수 이에다 암족 고지노 때때르자 때는 종조지네 니와데 TV 톱 삼베토브 주스 때라 삼노당 용으로 때샘 영즈 연자랑 네트워크 때라 삼노 마atan 거다. 어떤에 삼비톱지. 근데 이때 가르나 스바탄 지와니오데 잠비톱. 다 당보 티와지 티비던데 삼로나고 삼로당주 셈하고 손도 양자 셈나 마질라 잠바지 또나 아니 셈 삼바지와니오. 근데 이제는 시진기도 시진티오데 하고 데 영지 봐 싸우죠 데르기 이나 지네 영지 삼로 당 뒤톱게니 셈니 어 특바도 담바니 도 근데 니는 존지 기도지 존지 세다 바투 지고니 때라 띠지 하고 돈도 하고 용주 때라 바투 지고도 셈나 스트로아지니 셈나 오 때페 기부로 성 때라 마트니 바투 지니 트로아가 스트로아트 스테월레오 스트로레오 때라 때네니 바투 지용소 존지 기도지 띠 니와 때라 때네 셈니 담바도 게바토고 근데 셈니 그와 디위토지 셈니 그와 때라 된 바투 지고 마땅 아주 론디지니 때 게나보 때 십십쇼도 랑징 코다 살리 샤롱 거 때자 때라 스티치다 니어 칸섬나 다랑 니트바자 디위토즈 톱 가르 톱레 때 간르 톱자 디위토르즈 때비는 가랑도 켄도치 장게나 당보페 암조나 녜고라 녜지 니와티스 뜻시긴데 데데 셰송아 삼로땅 삼로 뜻사비토로 삼로 땅네 때네 섬노 때 삼로 코트디시 뜻시긴도 아데 데 잠바치 양정 섬나 잠바치 코라지 돈도 코라지 잠바치 잠비 톱때다 시진지 양저 때딘디 반데 데임바진 때비나 인치 측지나 때 보컬려 때티 돈돈 데임바지 양저 섬나 샤라자 잠바치 잠비 톱 텔레체네 때 바츠지야 티켓 장안도 박은 담바 소리치 레보나 때 가와치 때 장나 아타 코가조지 인치 센데 소소 로란 바본도 통도 텔레 섬나 트와이고 소나 징가 티켓 장요르스 텔레 바바 장 조아 시가 강을 매바지네 시트고 때제오도 아니 따tin 디소나 티켓 장장의 수 바짝 셈는 땅드나 수 가르시는 시트고 왔다 셰바도 때 리치그레시 곰적 땅도 개장 땅도 지그레시
So now the six forces that so we need to apply, and the four activities are six forces and the four activities. So that is on the first on the first stage. So you need to use or implore the forces of listening, right? So here listening means the instruction. So you need to get a clear sense of, develop a clear concept of what is meditation. Okay? What do you need to suppose? What are you supposed to? You are supposed to meditate on. Right? So get a clear sense of what is meditation and what you're going to meditate on, right? And by listen to the instruction, right? And make sure and you really understand what you're going to do, right? And simply speaking, to understand it is just by listening and make sure that you make yourself very clear that and you know what you are going to do. So that's the first stage. So and that's a very the force of the knowledge you developed and through the listening or by listening to somebody, by means of listening to somebody, the instructors who teach you how to meditate. So that the very force is called the force of the listening. And then once you get a clear sense of, oh, that is what I am supposed to do, and then you need to reflect upon that very instruction yourself. You need to say, make sure that, okay, that's what I heard. This is this, that is this, at this point, and that point. Okay, so you kind of reflect and mentally and internalize or conceptualize and to comprehend the all the aspects of that's the instruction and get a clear sense of what's not just you are here, you know what you have heard, but now you know for sure, for certain, that what is needed really be covered and be bring in in a place, right? Bring into place. So that is once you, that is that very practice or the process and the engagement which you did by the means of reflection is called the force of the thinking. Force of thinking. The thinking here means the reflection. So you need to reflect upon. For example, so what is the object of meditation? What is the feature of that object of meditation? And what you're supposed to, how you're supposed to be brought your mind to, or your all attention, you fully be attentive, and all your intentions onto your attention, and to all that, all the powers of your attention to that very object, right? And reflect upon and then those information repeatedly again, and got yourself very clear about it. And so that is the second forces of and the force of listening. Again, so if you try to apply those 6 forces into this 9 stages of your meditation, so the first and the second, the stage, like a stage of place the mind or setting the mind on the object, and then continue setting the mind where you need to apply the forces of listening. Okay, so listening and the force of listening will help you and to successfully achieve the first and second stages of your meditation, right? And then, you reflecting upon the meanings and the detailed instructions and all aspects of the your meditation, and then by the means of the thinking, and then this very process or application of thinking, the force of thinking, will help you to cover the third stage and the fourth stage. Right? Here, the fourth and the third and fourth stage is basically is to help you to apply the mindfulness. Right? So, and then you train yourself to be very mindful, and so then you go on and go on to apply the force. Let's just cover and keep the mind on the object. So, and then so that the forces of introspection, forces of introspection, and is applied to the subtle, right? Which is actually help you to counter or to overcome the subtle laxity and the subtle excitement, right? And then so you will move on to apply the forces of vigor. And when you become ready to apply the forces of vigor, that means you already gained acquired a good deal of meditation, meaning you tasted the joy, and you experience the great qualities of your meditation, and by the listening, the forces of listening, and apply the power of listening to the first and second stage, and then apply the powers of the thinking, and then apply to the third and fourth, and then you apply the powers of the mindfulness, and then you also apply the powers of mental introspection to the stages of the 5 and 6 and 7, and then when you reach the stage 8, okay, where you, in other words, when you're ready, apply the forces of vigor or the perseverance, and this perseverance is joyful. There's something that you find, aha, this is wonderful, this is excellent, great. It works, and it's such a fun or wonderful thing. So then you would be motivated to do more and better. So that sense of and the joy, the happy, and they want to be more successful, and they want to pursue it and further promote to higher and better level of your meditation of the force of the 9 stages by the forces of the Toro familiarity. So Toro familiarity is self-explanatory, and as the title or the name itself suggested. So, and when you are ready, able to apply the forces or depend upon forces of total familiarity and of the technique, right? The 9 stages prior to this stage, right? All 9 stages prior to this one. So then what this suggests is that, and now you know all details each stage and aspects of each stage, and now you are so familiar. You know so well about how to place your mind onto the object of your meditation, and remain stay there single pointedly, right? And so at this point you gain the great stability. At the same time, you also gain a great clarity. So the clarity and the stability both are joined, right? Both are joined, and then so that's what makes you are meditating, but you make no effort. Okay, it's become spontaneous. It's effortless. Why? Because now the power of the thorough familiarity been successfully achieved. Right now, I said so much, but let me make my point better and clear, and by give you an example and of the language learning. Okay? The process of language learning, and it's just like, in a sense, that just like the way you training your mind through the 9 stage of Shini meditation or the common abiding meditation. Well, how the language learning process can be resembled to the 9 stages meditation. Here is here how it goes. First of all, you know that in order to master a language, you need first to listen to that language, right? Hear the sound, right? Hear the syllables, right? And see to listen closely and listen to how it pronounce, right? And then you need, so you're gonna, that's how it sound like, right? And so that's you generated the knowledge of the sound, how they pronounce, how it sound like. So that's the you involved with the first stage, right? The listening, right? Listening how the structure of the language is structured, and demonstrates that particular language in terms of how it's pronounced. And then so you are you're reflecting upon, say, oh, that's what I heard. That sounds like this. That must be got like this. That's what I remember. Okay, so you kind of reinforce what the instructions you have heard from the language instructor. So then that's you apply you kind of practice this, like in the 9 stage meditation. You're in the second stage of meditation. That is thinking about it, right? And then yeah, so just think about it in terms of apply the 6 forces. I mean, so you are reflecting upon, right? And then you go back, right? you practice yourself, and you correct yourself, and you make from the words sounds and the words, and then the cognitively know and how the particular words is being spelled out, right? And how it's pronounced, and what's the meaning, and what that word is represented, particular and so you get to know all of them, and then you apply them. So, and then you do this and by constantly remember, right? Remember, not just you remember what you have heard, and or think about and reflect upon what you have heard, right? And then you now you constantly and remember and memorize what you have heard again, and then you also make sure that what you have learned is correct. You are on the track of that very language learning process. So that is like introspection. And then so you began to taste the flavor, the beauty of that language, meaning that now you can talk back to your language instructor, and the words you said or the sentences you made, it makes sense. Your instructor confirmed you're doing well, you did a good job. So that gives you the sense of confidence and joy and achievement. So that is like they apply the forces of rigor, and then you do more, and you apply to the techniques, right? Just like the 9 stages, through each stage, right? One by one, and and then enhance the qualities or promote the 9 stages from stage 1 to the 9 by apply the 6 forces, right? Accordingly, and finally you will reach what is here in the 9 stages of meditation. That is the first. That's the stages of equilibrium. So you become the master of your own mind. Similarly, here in the language learning. And finally, so you can make a long sentence, you can make a complicated sentence, and you can express your feelings, your thoughts, and freely, and then you begin to enjoy the powers of your communication skill in that foreign language. So, and that shows that now you are the master of that language. Similarly, if you apply those 9 stages and guide the 9 stages through the 6 by the forces of the 6 forces which we discussed, then you will become the master of your own mind.
아니 단다 람 교교 trực 때니 그마진도와 쿠즈텔라 아니 퍼시고르 오네 열라시파 저즈니 다 열라시파 저세나 열라시파 다 삼나 삼무당니 로도 당보데 삼 단다 샘니 당보당 니와니라 덤데지 바즈니 데스 칼리자고스 다 샘드 리스미야 파 덤니 텔라 남시탄니 베 나즈나 잡주 조치니 강고레스 도마니와이 근데 던데다 삼바 자와 나와 특파 덤바 버데스 덤바 티버데 아니 나우텔라 아니 차전직비 열라셰바즈네 차전직비 열라셰바즈나 다 곰로데 곰치도 좀 참참아셈 야양디 야전자 양스라 용용 야지데 다 참참아 첼 지게네 맞아 인터넷 지는 나진네 다 파트는 못네 던데지 로고르스텔라 아니 차전직비 열라셰바 다 셈니 게바데 갑스 차바메 버직 바즈네 어떻고 셈니 고알 게발레 온소 다 삼에 진이다 인마칠라치 셈상이 양아나 저희 먹바드니 존이 추고 말 셈니 먹바디 만추이 강네니 지 자기 양마도 용고 말스 데 셈니 고아 데 사텔라네 셈니 게바데 차바메 버직비 열라셰바드 열라셰던데 다 고아데 생기드비 생기 드비 일라셔봐 생기 드바지다고 강아지가 매바지 리스무다 되고네 어고 강 자가들 살리 데트고 짜다 생기 드비 일라셔바지 일라 사바tam기 따랑 네트고 때다다 거 어때 때네다 크바즈텔라 되게네 촌둔들이지 일라셔바지데 따때 페나 페자르기나 작달라 페자르기나 페고 nga 작다 쉬니고 뭐 작다 당보 신저 좁베데 셈 리스밍가 듬네 페슈치나 단 로르도 다 때네 같은 파 봄소나 다 잡줍진도다 참참한 로고마도 만로르도 다 때셈니 सम्बा जवा ngawa tikpa damba juda ti something do re tam bare bare so lo ro ma no lo ro japan do na da jinte do da ka ji sab ji do na ka do na lam chokpa te yunar share do thuk te sim japan do simne go te ta samlo ma ta lo mong bot do na ka do na sam chota shon do na ko te samlo ga tang go ma da share do thuk do te ko niwo to bro wa te o te ten ji samte samne ga ram ba do tong chota shon na nyong na chama te shi ge ta
Okay. Now let's talk about the four mental activities. So before we're talking about there's 9 stages. That's our sort of the trial, right? If you like, and that's the path that we need to go through in order to achieve our final goal of the destiny of the trial. And so we need to go through stage by stage, or in other words, like a session from the first segment to second segment, and then finally we arrive over the point of the journey, right? And then in order to get there, we need 6 depend upon the 6 forces, or apply and the 6 forces to ensure, right, and to guide us and successfully overcome and the challenges, the hindrance, and the backs, the setbacks, okay, all the challenges. Which we have to face at each stages when we try to go through promote ourselves from the stage 1 to the 9th. And in addition to the 6 forces, here we have apply 4 what they call the 4 mental activities. Again, those 4 mental activities is a guideline. Again, it's kind of it's a kind of a protection and the means of the technique which can protect us and help us to successfully achieve our goal. And so they're here called the mental activities. So how you do it is that on the first 2 stages, right? That means the stages of place the mind, setting the mind on the object, and continue setting the mind on the object. While you're on the first 2 stages, right? So it's the mental activity of deliberate, right? Mental deliberate engagement. Here it's called deliberate mental engagement. What this means is that you have to, right? And you have to be very carefully, okay? And you have to energetically and carefully and engage in the meditation. So that's during the first 2 stages, meaning while you are still practicing the place the mind on the object and continue and place the mind on the object. Right? You need to be deliberate and be engaged. Be engaged and fully engaged. And then once this is done, right? Then from that. From the third, fourth, fifth, and sixth, seventh, and then so in the next 5 stages, right, and what you need to do in addition to what we have talked about the 6 forces, and here you need to apply and the mental activity, okay, and the mental activity of interrupted engagement. So interrupted engagement, it means that it's like internet, right? Internet we are using here, we depend on and to carry on our Dharma discussion. You know, sometimes the internet works very well, and sometimes doesn't. So, and there are some interruptions there, and some disturbing moments occur from time to time. So that is from during the stages of your practice of 9 stages of meditation. So while you are in the stages of the third stage, right? Catch like setting your mind and close setting your mind, controlling and setting your mind, and pacifying your mind, and the total pacifying your mind. During that 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, that's 5 stages, right? Just like the internet, and your meditation would challenge your effort, right? And so even though they challenges you, right? But just like the internet, even though there's troublesome and the sound or other qualities and the connections is not perfect, but overall you are, and as far as the continuation of that meditation is concerned, so there is a continuation. Something is beneath, right? And it's moving on. It's still going on. It's extending. It's going on. So it's keeping forming. It's keeping working. So that is that's during this time you need to apply the mental engagement, right? The mental engagement is called interrupted mental engagement, and then at the 8th, right? When you arrive at the 8th stages of your mind, 9 stages of your meditation, that is making single pointed, right? And so you are now, you need to apply within the 4 mental forces, right? The mental activities, and you need to apply to the, what we call it here is the mental activity of a spontaneous engagement. So the mental activities of a spontaneous engagement, and is that you are, like we talked about earlier, vigor, the vigor of joy, and you have the sense of, you develop it, you taste the sense of joy, and you see the wonderful qualities of it, and so you now you know how what is really the benefits and so on and so forth, which motivates you to working and more and better. And then that's the forces of the spontaneous engagement, and then in the so the last thing is the spontaneous, right? So and then which means that you don't need to really do anything. It's just a little bit of sort of you apply technique or something that's maybe very tiny bit, and then everything will be as successfully sort of carried on. Okay, and so mental activities and is related to the 9 stages of meditation, in addition to the 6 forces that we just discussed. Right. So maybe this is too technological, or the terminology maybe is which we use it may not that helpful. But let me again give you simplify the matter of the point, and by using my own experience with bike, learning how to ride the bike myself. So when I first tried to ride a bike, and since I have no experiences, so and I often fell down. Okay, so that's like the first stages, right? And first and second stages. Or in this context, let's say the four mental engagements or four excuse me, my voice is sometimes kind of troubling now. So four mental activities, right? So my bike at the first time or at the beginning, and right, and often knock me, make me fell down from the bike. I fell off from the bike, and because of this, I have to be apply just like here the first mental activity, and so the first four mental activities vigorous, right? I have to be really and very careful and mindful and fully engaged and deliberate. Okay? The activity of mental deliberately I have to do and try to control the balance of my bike. And but then more I try and more and I get familiar with it. So and then I apply. And it's like they apply the mental activities in the second, like the interrupted engagement. That means I still fell off from the bike, and but not as quite often and bad as in the beginning. And so then I keep a try, just like I'm on the stage of second, third stage, fourth stage, fifth stage, the seventh stage. Okay, and there are yes, I fell off, but I gained some balance. I gained some kind of control of the bike, and so I'm keeping doing it. I didn't give up, right? And then I got the sense of balance, so I began to enjoy and the sense of control of the bike myself. I want to do more, and I go back with joy. So that is apply the forces of uninterrupted engagement. And finally, I mastered my own the bike. I can ride wherever I go, even the road is very narrow or kind of like very wide, right, zigzag. And but I can control it. That is like the spontaneous, the activities of spontaneous engagement. So that's I think that's how the 9 stages of meditation and the practice of the 9 stages of meditation is similar to the language learning process and or the here the bike ride experiences.
다 티초 종송을 이낭 까마카시 다 신이 상통즈네 신이세 셈지 제직도 때라니 다들 신이세고라 다 때직도 네위 강라 아니 담맥 돈텔라 쇼파치니 셔럽기 닐근데 시키 닐그 잘리 오네 닐그 때 하고 때라 제직도 냠버 적비 신이 단한도나 시키란 탐다운도 자르도도 단창 치와치 나서도 드리가 소와 지정도다 설랑이 우데 zontendelwaazini ta tela ani 상통지 곰 세고르시다 고 셔럽기 닐링오마데 또니 디돈데 마질라 텔라시 네다와사다 상통지 곰즈니다 곰 설랑이 zonten데비 곰데리시 다 차죠 대응들봐
So I guess we are running out of time, but let me quickly summarize what we have talked about today. So we were talking about the Shinny meditation or common abiding meditation. So in the words, what is the Shinny meditation? Shinny meditation is the practice of is the practice which help you and to able to exercise your mind by stabilize it and with greater clarity. Right? By gaining the stabilization with a greater clarity, and so in being your mind a single pointed, it can be a single pointedly, right? From all the kind of distractions and lethargies, and so on and so forth, overcome all those mental decay, and then make your mind and to be able to fully concentrate it and single pointedly can work on the project which you need to successfully accomplish. So that a single pointedness is a shooting meditation. Right? Once you achieve this single pointedness of your mind, then so what you, as a Dharma practitioner, what you need to do is then apply this single pointedness state of mind, use it as a platform, and to develop a wisdom, and that wisdom which understands the ultimate nature of a reality. Okay, ultimate nature of a reality that in this particular context is referred to the selflessness of a person, the selflessness of a phenomena, or anatma, right? So, or shunyata. So, shunyata, anatma, or selflessness of a person. That is ultimate reality, and that is the highest, the truth. As a Dharma practitioner, we all need to directly have a direct realization, and then, in other words, directly can experience it, then apply it into our day-to-day life. So yes, so first of all, you have to achieve the single pointedness state of your mind, and then use it, and then as a platform, and to develop technically speaking, a special insight of Vipassana. So special insight of Vipassana, and that is wisdom that see what it is, or what it really is. And once you gain the certainty, okay, of what it is, and what it really is, then you need, without forget, now, what you have successfully realized, and that is, right? Then focus on that very mode of ultimate reality, and then continue and bless your mind and meditate on that very ultimate truth, the ultimate reality, and then that when you can do it, right? When you can do it, and without any problem, that means now you are not only successfully achieved the Shini meditation, the come-by meditation. Now you are also successfully achieved the union of Shini meditation with and the Vipassana, or the wisdom the meditation. So, and then you needed to remain in that the unification, the point of unification of Shine, common body, and spatial insight.
But the long-term should come out when the Ratakida no de Chundundris, Tamatama.
So yeah, to make it this point simple, and just imagine that as the rider of the elephant, right? That person now who can ride on the elephant and fly and throughout space freely.
Yeah. Okay.
Remind me of Vipassana in Tibetan.
Shine.
Shine, so for both, for special insight or for single calm abiding and special insight, both are shine?
No.
신의 상통.
상통.
상통인데요, 스페셜.
신의,
상통.
Tell me later.
신의 and 항동.
Hatong,
항동.
Hatong.
Yeah.
Cool, thank you.
Okay, now today no question. Okay, no.
Sorry.
So this okay. Yeah. Labram. Okay.
Thank you, Geshe-la, Tempa, and Tenzin. If you would like to make a donation for this teaching, it would be greatly appreciated by the monastery and the monks, and also for donating for our translator, Tenzin. And you can do this by calling 812-336-6800, emailing the center at tmbcc.kcl@gmail.com. For those of you here in the temple, I'll pass around the begging bowl, and if you would like to make a donation, it would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Page number 80. We'll say the closing prayer.
Sero Gande Javi Ngobai Nam Da Lam Da River Ma Yershi Gan Se Ta Ba Cho La Chi Jo Je 此日日那作巴的一经，的南极多的周西江，扎西江所修根家人修。妈妈人不起，都是年根儿把米当军啦。家阵全部国内集中的，歌颂对的米着咋的说。上周三朝人不起，马些把那几件去。见我娘把没本儿养，公内公德平稳说，让为国为相公的判当的我马林中为你，向日子昂等着扬头也，下半身的把的等劲儿去。把我这点儿钱把当跟的让我的样的人的，得大根结就是到我事儿，给我的到他们知道的我。第什么下边叫我他们知的，我刚刚做的我帮的。给为早晚的跟踪，上不就是了的我儿的，看的用的担保的上街，但这就他们这跟上，立正跟拉的起来用为你上街担保的。一点儿这菜肉跟的要我总光为当初新年我是这边的，要为我被浪上的年里个就这样多忙点儿去。